Alright, this video is for your QL, your quadratus lumborum. Go ahead and grab a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball if you have one. You kind of need one. So make sure you have one actually. And then we're going to start on your elbows and just come onto your your low back like this. And your QL, you kind of find the top of your hip bone. Your hip bone goes pretty high. This is your iliac crest up here. And then your ribs come in pretty low also. So there's this little section of your back between your ribs and your iliac crest, and that's where your QL runs, and that's where we're trying to get. So it's just to the side of your paraspinals, which run along your spine. So think of these muscles along your spine, and then just to the outside of those muscles. And we're going to kind of go at it in an angled direction. So take your ball, and we'll start up high toward the ribs to start. This isn't usually the most sensitive spot. And then you're going to kind of just put it right along your spine and then just a little out to the side, kind of out to the left, because we're starting on the left side of the back. Okay, and then you're just going to tip your knees over to the left a little bit until you feel a spot. And then you're just going to breathe here. Good. Lift back up, scoot the ball down a little bit, just along the side of your paraspinals, and then tip to the left. So this is a little more sensitive on me. I probably need to do this more often. My back tends to get tight. Ooh, it's almost kind of hard to relax my knees, so you can also just kind of set your knee down. I just want you to be like at a little bit of a tipped position as the weight of your body pushes down into that ball. Good. Scoot the ball down a little bit. And you're going to find one spot here pretty soon that's going to be the spot. Keep breathing. I know this isn't like active and interesting, but it's good awareness in the body. Good. If you can flap the leg a little bit. And if you can, take that ball down any lower, go for it. If you found a sweet spot already, just stay there. You can kind of move on it back and forth. Maybe move the leg up and down. Okay, and then let's switch sides. Take that ball over to the right side of your spine, just outside of those paraspinal muscles. And this time I'm going to lean over my knees over to the right. If you don't feel it right away, move around until you find something. Again, you can flap the knee open and close, or just kind of move back and forth, or just hold. Take some deep breaths. Don't forget to breathe on this. Scoot the ball down a little bit. I want to hit the ball at an angle, don't forget. So I'm kind of tipping the torso and then leaning back into the ball. Good. And then scoot the ball down a little more. And this side's like a lot less sensitive on me, so that's really good to note. That means my left hip is probably higher and my left QL is probably tighter. So if I do this again, I might spend more time on that left side. And if I only have time for one side, I'm going to do the left side, personally. Might be different for you. It's just kind of good to know what you're working with. And this might be something that you just always have to do if your pelvis is naturally a little out of balance. All right, so hopefully you've gone down to the lowest point. You can move the legs again or rock side to side. Okay, and then take the ball to the lowest spot just above the pelvis, and your knees are facing straight up this time. And I'm just going to see if I can roll up and down. So this is more like the paraspinals, right along the spine. Find something that feels good for you, and then switch sides. So I'm going up and down the left side of my spine. You can kind of circle in a spot if you want. Okay, and then we're going to do one more thing, a couple more things. Take the ball and go down to the lowest part of your spine, right above that iliac crest, the top of your hip. And then find that QL spot and see if you can lay down. All right, now it might not feel super intense yet. Just go ahead and scoot it in so it's right in that little kind of nook against the paraspinals. And you're just gonna pull this left leg up and then set it down. Pull it up, set it down. And you'll know if you need to move to get the ball in a more sensitive spot. Pull, set it down. You're just kind of moving that thigh back and forth. Good, and then let's move the ball up a little bit. Moving that leg. Good, and then move it up. Probably the last time. I don't feel as much up here usually. Still good to get all the muscle area. All right, switch sides. We're gonna go down where the money is, the low part of your QL. That's kind of where it attaches right into the hip, top of the hip bone. Yep, and then push the ball in, move the leg. You might have to play with the position of the ball. Good, move the ball up. And move it up one more time. All right, good job. So that's the release. Go ahead and roll over onto your left side. Prop yourself up on your elbow here. And then I want you to just kind of get the knees about in line with that elbow and lift your hips. Okay, and you're just gonna lower the hips and lift. Lower, lift, lower, lift. If you want to make it harder, you can also just come into side plank. This is going to activate that QL too. You're going to lean the shoulders back, keep the neck long, and keep this left hip lifting and the hips square. So I'm not turning up to the sky. I'm keeping those hips straight forward. Good. If this hurts your shoulder, please skip it. Last couple breaths. Good, set the hips down and just roll over onto the other side. So you're gonna be on your right waist, right elbow is down. Knees about in line with your forearm there, and then, or your elbow, and then just lift up. Right, lean the chest open a little bit, shoulders down the back. You're gonna lower the hips, lift, lower, lift. If you want to make it harder, come into side plank. Again, hips are turned straight to the side, shoulders back. Last 10 seconds. Good, and then lower it down. Nice, just rock up onto your seat. And we're gonna take Janu Sirsasana, right leg forward. Turn the belly over your right thigh and then reach with your left hand. Just take a few breaths here. If you feel it mostly in the hamstring, that's okay too. Keep the right toes a little bit active and think about lengthening the left side of your low back as you reach. Good, gently come back up, switch sides. Reaching with your right hand and lengthening the right side of your low back here. Good, and then coming back up, one more. Right heel into your inner right thigh. And then you're just gonna kind of set the elbow on the floor or on the thigh and reach your right arm over for a side bend. Keep those left toes turning up if you can. And if it's too intense with that right arm, just drop it down your back and you can kind of drop the left ear to the left shoulder. And think about lengthening the right side of your low back again and into your right waist. The QLs are kind of tricky to stretch, but we've just about covered it. Let's do the other side. Right leg out, left heel to left inner thigh, and then right elbow to thigh, reach the arm over. Or if you prefer, you can wrap it down your back. Good. And I'm not really turning the chest open. If anything, I'm turning it just a tiny bit down to lengthen the left side of the low back as if my left arm starts right in the top of my hip in that low back area. And I'm reaching from there. All right. You did it. Good job. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one.